This is Boomer Life on CL650.
And you are listening to Boomer Life on CL650, and we're talking about hearing. And from Next Gen Hearing, we have Dr. Ted Venema talking about the latest in technology around hearing aids. And it's fascinating. I can't believe that all of this stuff is available to people with tiny devices. We're talking tiny devices. Yeah. So how? And let's before we get into their next topic here. How small are these things now? Because we think of the big banana behind the ear, right? That's gone.
Glad you're asking that, Zach, because that's a big thing. Those beige hearing aids, the bananas that hung behind your ears, is a thing of the past. Whistling, shrieking away. Yeah. Everybody has memories of their parents or grandparents who fought and wrestled with those kind of devices. Those were analog hearing aids. Today, they're about 1 inch long. Most of them still sit behind the ear. You can pick any color from purple to pink to whatever you like.
Skin tone,
taupe. All these different, and then the wire or the tube going to your ear canal from the body of the hearing aid sitting behind your ear, that is thread thin.
Here's an interesting thing. You know, the U.S. Presidential campaign is underway. You might have heard.
No. Trump.
So anyway, there was a quote from John McCain talking about Donald Trump, and they showed a still photograph on the television. I had no idea John McCain wore hearing aids, but this was a really close-up shot, and I spotted, because I've been doing these shows with you, that really thin hair that went from behind his ear into his ear. But
You had to know to look.
I had to know to look, and I had no idea he wore hearing aids, but now I do. But there you go. Deal. Yeah. So discreet, you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, and actually it was Ronald Reagan back then who was the first person to wear all in the ear hearing aids.
Right.
And that was a big push for hearing aid sales. Well, if the president can wear hearing aids, I guess so can I. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, but, maybe if Donald Trump gets in, we'll all start wearing toupees.
Well, he can hear, he just doesn't listen.
I think that's the quote of the day. All right, let's get into the next company that has some high-tech stuff is Oticon. Right?
Oticon, okay. A Danish company. Oticon has a new product called Open, O-P-N. Now, I'll just give some contrast. Most hearing aid companies focus on trying to pick up the sound of your voice from in front of me and excluding the background noise. So they're acting like a tunnel. They're trying to really stream or beam straight to you. And Oticon's approach is different. They're trying to open the sound of the environment and restore your natural realization of where things are around you.
So it's like a spatial thing.
Yes, a very spatial thing. They call it the latest, greatest, but it instead of focusing on one speaker, what you're trying to do is now handle multiple speakers simultaneously. And if you look at a picture and I would highly suggest people to look on the internet on a YouTube or whatever of Oticon and Google it up, like OPN, Oticon Open, and it'll take you through a whole tour of it. Same with Resound, the company we talked about earlier. But the approach of Oticon Open is to help the listener handle multiple speakers simultaneously. So what it does is these hearing aids sample all sounds in the environment. They do so at a rate of about 100 times a second. And then the second step in what they do is they try to rebalance all of these into a natural way that the listener would hear. So you might be talking to someone a meter away from you. You're sitting on the lawn on a towel having a picnic with a basket there. There might be kids running around about 10 or 20 feet away. There might be a bird chirping in the tree behind you.
The ocean in the background.
Yeah, and they're trying to sample all of these sounds and then restore like a natural balance of these sounds. And then something else, a third thing that they do is they try to sample the noise that occurs between the words. So when I'm speaking, any noise between my words is suppressed. They call that spectral subtraction. So you're trying to really focus on enhancing the spatial sound experience. They call that the Open Sound Navigator. Open Sound Navigator. And
when in your experience, do people respond differently to the different types? Like you have the hearing aids that focus on the voice, which is great one-on-one and in some louder situations. Is this more pleasing? What do people say about it?
People say that the former approach that you're talking about with the focusing on one speaker, that really increases or maximizes the intelligibility or your ability to distinguish speech. But that's only one half the picture. The other half is comfort in the noise. Like just how comfortable can you be? Is the noise going to be jabbing or jarring you? How can the hearing aids manage the noise? So they just put their emphasis on a different syllable. One's trying to enhance the speech, and the other one's trying to manage the noise. And they're just different approaches. Oticon claims that with their Oticon Open, you can get a 20% reduction in listening effort. Now that's important because when you've got less effort to straining to hear, your brain can focus on sounds in a more relaxed way because you're not struggling as much. So they say it just makes it easier on the brain by reducing the listening effort.
Because there is fatigue in trying to keep up with conversation,
Huge.
right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Ask any hard of hearing person this. They literally burn more calories. Research has shown this. I've had hearing impaired students in my class, and they're sitting at the front of the class, and they have to struggle to hear. I mean, it's not like they're tired at the end of that class. They're physically exhausted. So when you can take listening effort or strain out of hearing, you're taking the chain off the brain. You're allowing the brain to concentrate on other things. And by the way, this has a lot to do with the topic out there about hearing loss and decline in cognition.
Yes.
People may have heard a lot about this.
Yeah.
When someone with hearing loss is not wearing hearing aids, they are struggling to hear. So they're putting all their brain's focus on that struggle to hear, and that takes away the brain's ability to channel and handle other things at the same time.
I think I mentioned this in a previous show. Is my stepmother works for WebMD, the big medical portal. I mean, you type in anything like bruised knee or whatever on the internet, WebMD pops up first. And she works in the psychiatric, all about the brain, right?
Right.
And they've shown that I mentioned this because I talked to her about interviewing you and my father about getting him hearing aids. He's 83, and it's time to, you probably should have done it before. But she said, talking to physicians that look after the brain, they say that people who have onset of Alzheimer's, when they get their hearing aids fitted, it stabilizes it. Not forever, but it stabilizes their Alzheimer's because they feel more engaged in life.
Yeah, exactly.
So anybody that's got any kind of mental, they're losing some capacity, it would, if they're feeling more engaged, their brain is working better,
exactly.
right?
I mean, it's almost like common sense.
Yeah.
If you can reduce social isolation and get the person back in the game of communication, because hearing loss is one sense that necessarily involves other people. It involves relationships because it involves communication. And if you can improve audibility and improve communication, you're totally changing relationships.
What do you say to my wife where she says, I've been tuning her out for years?
So she would just
I
say,
just know that frequency and eliminate that.
the same thing as we'd say to Trump. Can hear, just not listening?
Exactly. So can you tell us anything else about the navigator that they use?
Yep. The navigator is that spatial awareness thing, what they really talk about. And what it does is, first is it samples all the different sounds in your environment. And then it balances the surrounding sounds. And thirdly, it cleans out noise between the words. So basically, it just allows a kind of a gentle, natural awareness of the normal environment of sounds. It's not trying to focus only on you because you're the person I'm trying to hear. That's one approach that improves speech intelligibility. But this one here is a nice way of handling background noise. So it's more of a relaxing thing.
So that spatial aspect of your hearing is really important for being outside and hearing traffic?
Yep.
Is a car coming?
Well, most listening environments are complex. I mean, here in this booth on the radio here, it's nice and quiet. We're wearing headphones. The signal to noise ratio is fantastic. I can hear the speech and there's no background noise. Mm-hmm. Walk out into the parking lot here in Richmond and things are different. All of a sudden a bus is going down the road, or, just a door slams. There's people talking and on the sidewalk, and it's that whole natural panorama of sound.
So I'm guessing that the two hearing aids are linked to give you that stereo effect.
You are right.
So when a bus goes left to right, the left hearing aid is hearing it sooner, and then the right hearing aid hears it last.
And that's the thing about the Oticon, and I'm glad you've mentioned that, Zach, because they call it Twin Link. The hearing aids communicate to each other. So the right and left hearing aids are talking to each other, saying, "Oh, the bus is on that side, and normally you're going to be this one ear is going to be hearing the bus louder than the other ear. Make it happen." Mm-hmm. It's like on the old Star Trek show. Make it so.
Number one.
Yeah, number one. So so the hearing aids are talking to each other to help restore that natural way that you used to hear when your ears were normal. And it's handling the background noise in the environment such that it's restoring and rebalancing things as naturally as possible. It's trying to make the listening situation have true space, like true environmental, like the surrounding environment around you. It's trying to preserve that as much as possible.
Now, Oticon also has the connectivity, I'm guessing, with smart devices and things, right?
They also have dongle-free, so that the hearing aids can communicate directly with an iPhone, for example. But then Oticon also, now they're not going to just focus all their energies in one direction. Like Resound, they have a remote control.
Sure.
Like Resound, they'll have a phone link so that you can speak over the phone, because not all of the Oticon hearing aids are the open hearing aid. The open OPN is their highest end hearing aid.
Yeah, so not everybody can afford that.
Not everybody gets that one. But people who buy middle range Oticon and low range Oticon hearing aids have the remote control that they can have that comes with the hearing aids usually, and the phone clip, the thing that'll work with the television, the things that'll work with the radio, with your computer picking up. But I mean, it gets quite something. They too have that you can download an app onto your cell phone. Oticon Open communicates directly with your iPhone, so you can use your phone like anyone else, but the idea is the hearing aids act like stereo headphones to talk on the phone or stream music directly to one's hearing aids.
Yeah, I see here that goes through all of the different kinds of Apple products, and you have Android compatibility with Android 6.0 and above. So that's the latest technology, and that's fascinating stuff. When we come back, we're going to pick up the conversation with Dr. Ted Venema from Next Gen Hearing about the technology and fascinating technology that's available to you if you're suffering hearing loss, and how not only can the hearing aid help you with your hearing, but also all other new facets of technology next on Boomer Life.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.